Well, hello everybody. I didn't want to do a live, but it's just unbelievable today. It's unbelievable. I've been watching the debates all day as I do work on my place and trying to get ready, get that done. Um, Unbelievable. We got Blake Desjardins and we had Nikki Ashton earlier. Very, very upset with the narrative from NDP. A ton of stolen intellectual property, lots and lots of work I've done. However, the narrative's changed because that often happens. Lots of people, I've seen this with the lunatic right, I see it with the lunatic left. These people love to take knowledge from you and then twist it, tear it apart, and make it theirs, even though it's totally in the fiction section. I'm watching live here today as NDP continues to abuse my works, steal and use my works, and use it in a negative way. Just like the alt-right, I've watched it with a lot of those lunatic narratives attached to the convoy. We see it in the radical left too, ladies and gentlemen. Mark my words, the Emergency Measures Act is going to pass. Bad news, it's bad news for me. I'm already watching the banking industry transform even right now. Even right now, ladies and gentlemen. And I know because I'm in it thick, because I'm cashing out of Canada. So it's brutal. It's brutal. Watching unions turn on you, transform. The NDP, that what was the Labour Party, the part that I always liked a long, long time ago, is long dead. I never liked communism. I never subscribed to it. I believe in organized labor for the little people. It is a must, especially in Crown Canada. Whether people like to hear that or not, when you're the average Joe Jane working for a living and you're trying to make it out there, it is tough. It is tough with the enemy of all enemies, the first class politicians. Now, NDP has learned an extremely lot since Tommy Douglas. That comes from many, many decades of provincial power, provincial crown. They've learned from Liberals. We even had MPs switch over to Liberal caucuses many, many times. We see it through the 80s, 90s, 2000s and beyond, even today. They've learned a lot. They're no longer the Labour Party of the people. Unions are largely corrupt. It's if you go on right now in any of the Twitter spaces, world organizers all over, especially here in North America, literally 1,200 of them held a space yesterday. They go into it. But the worst of the worst is this Ashton. She's brutal. She is brutal. She grows into all the narratives I talk about, however, canceling much of the bread and butter, including quoting works I've done, but leave out extreme details that don't justify her arguments. Complete fiction. But stealing my narratives. South Africa. Ignoring everything that Canada's done. We got Blake there. He's sitting there. He's in Greece Spa, Edmonton here. It's just pathetic. Going through land, back, everything, but ignoring for all of the Canadian Indians. That is the legal speak. It is not Canada and all the other acts in Canada, but one. One that he completely leaves out because he's a first-class son of a bitch. And you know what? Ashton, she's a total piece of shit out of Manitoba. Liars, radicals, only aiming to absolutely destroy the First Peoples. First mistake number one is the term Indigenous, UNDRIP. It's not even a world-binding law. It's been thrown out by all the world powers. Canada, under its crown, utilizes it to rape, murder, and destroy you even today. I did a glorious presentation in the Alberta legislature, my last presentation ever. 13 minutes, 6 minutes dedicated to all the treaty Indians as well as those unceded and ceded, the Métis and Inuit. If you haven't seen it, many have. It is backed up by the world's greatest legal experts, all of course outside of Canada. Canada is a piece of shit. That parliament we're watching today is a piece of shit. Don't think conservatives are going to do anything for you. They don't. One will destroy all the narratives of the First Peoples, the average everyday working Joe Jane, corrupt all local domestic businesses. They have plans to destroy all of them for their foreign special interests. Justin Trudeau and NDP, absolutely. SNC Lavalin, Aga Khan. Oh, guess what? They're not the only ones to go see Aga Khan. You can look at the Conservatives, all those in Privy Council. For all of you watching Parliament Debate Live today, do you see all the things I'm sharing with you? Those who follow me, if you've been watching it somewhat throughout the day, on and off, repeatedly, all of that legal speak, the Crown customary law, is constantly alluded to. They speak in code because it's public, but inside that Privy Council, you know, the one that forced the emergency acts, that made that come to fruition here today. All of you are watching that, you're hearing about it, but you're not made aware of what those terms really mean. When they start saying, Your Honor, the Honourable, the Honour of the Honourable, if you listen closely, you'll hear it. That is public speak. Because I promise you, behind closed doors, when they close the doors and there's no media, no public, all of those terms, Lord, worship, it goes on and on. I have them all. I have them entirely. I have many leaks. I've collected massive data. I share it to the world's greatest minds. It's going through the Democrats like wildfire. First Peoples, I am not going to take any unknowns. I'm not even going to do the ID swapping. It's a ton of work. But I have about 8 First Peoples here that I trust more than anybody else. And unfortunately, everybody, it's you who's going to have to help me do all that work by the end of February. We're going to email all the chiefs directly, whether they betray us or not. But clearly, after what I've watched tonight, all of my intellectual property is in the hands of those low-life, degenerate MPs from the NDP. Can't do any work for themselves, steal the intellectual property as good communists right out of the former Soviet Union. Those low-life, degenerate lunatics. As bad as the Pat Kings and the rest of the weirdos attached to the convoy. The real problematic parts of the convoy that have led us to this were their narratives that were honest, truthful. Well, they got hijacked. We all get hijacked. Doesn't matter left or right, whatever narrative. The Crown hijacks you. If you don't think that NDP didn't steal everything, utilize it, give it back to Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, you're sadly mistaken. Those followers, these people following me, the crazy lunatics from the right, obvious crazy lunatics from the left, sharing, stealing, writing their own narrative, they don't have no world experts, because I'll guarantee you I've never lied to a single Canadian or first person ever in my political career. I take it off the chin. Do I make mistakes? Am I a human being? Have I gotten thrown under the bus a billion times? Sure. I got broad shoulders. Those two tonight, stealing my works, rearranging my works, I can guarantee you, in all of those major groups that they talk about out on the world stage, it was I, the only Canadian there. I can guarantee you that, and those experts will tell you, I'm the only Canadian to participate faithfully in all of it. Sometimes working 16 hours a day. You will not find any of these elected officials or any other Canadians. In fact, you won't find any legal minds from Canada. Another thing, everybody, today, Putin with Donbass and Donetsk and Luhansk, you know what? That's the legal path to independence. Where did Vladimir Putin get that? Well, he got it from me, ladies and gentlemen. MFA Russia took my works, and I don't mind. So if you're a separatist watching in Alberta or part of Bloc Québécois Quebec, pay attention to what's going on. Because I'll tell you, Vladimir Putin is following the legal path to independence for those two sub-regions of Ukraine called Donbass. That's reality. And if the world's going to smite him, that means we're going to see the United States lose its federalism. You're going to see a president who can get away with that in Ukraine will be able to take away the division of powers of the states. Canada was long gone lost. And contrary, First Peoples, to what the filthy NDP MPs say in stealing my intellectual property, you have been removed from federalism entirely from every day since 1867, but upon the day of 1876 that you will not hear out of the mouth of those low-life, degenerate motherfuckers. And that's what they are. They're lying to you, manipulating you, and like good communists, you're the first to go down, just like the Jews. And if you want to hear from 3 Polish experts who would be the equivalent to Democrats, just like I have most of the legal minds of the United States from the Democrats. Did you hear me? The Democrats. You'll find most of the socialists in the world are all on my side. Not Canada, of course, because we're not really socialist, everybody. We're administered socialism. First people get absolutely all the crap end of socialism, administered by the Crown from 1876 Indian Act. 9 years after Confederation, you all got imposed the Indian Act. Why the fuck do those lunatic, low-life, degenerate MPs do not say one lick of truth? You're not Indigenous. You're Canadian Indians under the legal platform of the Indian Act, a Nazi Germany-style creation. You know why that is? Because it was built before Nazi Germany by countries under the Third Republic of France, under the British Empire, who are no different than the Third Reich of Germany, because they were built long before, designed and operating long before Germany. All colonials. People, First People, Métis, Inuit, wake up. Those are not your friends. And I know a lot of people follow me. You go rat me out. And time again, I tell you, don't do it. I know all the lunatics from the right have been stealing and siphoning off me. The narrative comes out garbage gerbil because it's stolen. They didn't do the work. They don't even know what I'm talking about. They take what they like. They twist the narrative to make it work for them. I know all the radicals are doing it. And now tonight I listen to NDP. Blah! In the name of Indigenous? Why don't we start with the truth? You have them under the Indian Act 1876. From all of Western Canada entirely, all the way through Quebec and Ontario, all the lands they stole when they rewrote and changed the boundaries of Ontario and Quebec. Your federal politicians are crown sworn. They're here to lie to you, rape, murder, and kill you. That's NDP. That's Liberal. That's absolutely Bloc. That's absolutely Conservative. It's absolutely the Green Party. It's absolutely PPC. It is all the crown sworn parties in absolutely all of Canada. They've all sworn the oath. It's why they use the term Indigenous. Because Indian, which is the lawful name and the lawful law they use to murder you, rape you, kill your children, and to this day steal your children and complete horrific atrocities against all the First People. You don't get any federalism. You have no constitutions. Tina Marovich, with my friend Professor Jim Scherer, has disclosed entirely every single constitution of all the tribes in USA today. They all have constitutions. It was the only way for 1975 to get self-determination, self-government, and 100% federalism in the United States of America. It's why American Indians have 135% more land for 6.7 million people than all of the people in Canada, all of the First Peoples, seated, unceded, on reserve, off reserve, treaty, or left hanging in the wind, plus Métis, all the Inuit combined. 135% more land than everyone in Canada combined. You're living a lie. I gave the honest, full, legal path to start the fix of Canada. These 7 provinces that right now are going to try and fight Trudeau on this, which technically speaking, they could use the 7 provinces, to absolutely open the Constitution. Will they win? No. But what they should do, and this is my advice, and I told the UCP, Jason Kenney has it, whether he's going to listen or not, we can settle all provincial crown land. It only takes the Premier to pick the crown off his head and lay it down. And with the stroke of a pen with Lieutenant Governor, there is absolutely nothing the Governor General of Canada or Prime Minister can do, because they would have to open the Constitution and dismember 1867's provisions. Now, if they do that, everybody, that means we can destroy the whole crown. They're going to go, ooh, we don't want to do that. The provinces can fix Canada. There's 2 ways to do this. Get elected, which is the easiest way, in a minority government. Dismiss Governor General, appoint within 30 days, which is the Ascension Day. Give written notice, absolute end termination of Governor General, and all the Lieutenant Governors of the provinces. There's more on the territories. We'll go through that, but that's keep it a secret, because I don't trust the people following me on Facebook. Garbage from the right, garbage from the left. And who suffers the most? The third-class citizens and absolutely all the First People. The works I do are truth, and I want everybody to have it, but there's load limits, because of shit like this I watch tonight, where I watch communist, low-life, degenerate pieces of shit. And one of them is Indigenous. And you know what? He's a sellout cocksucker. He's a crown-sworn piece of shit who would kill his own people. There ain't no any land back with that dirty motherfucker. There's none. There's none. And Ashton, she's a radical nutjob that would destroy all the First People if you ever let those kind of crazy nuts in power. If you don't believe me, this summer you're going to meet 3 of Poland's highest constitutional experts. And just to go back through Alex, we're going to have him on Wednesday here, live. He's running a referendum, the bravest man, in with the Supreme Court. It's the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, which is the Supreme Court of Ukraine, that's getting their ass kicked by the president right now, because he's a dictator. Contrary to popular belief, everybody, at least Russia, after the fall of the Soviet Union, has signed, ratified, and bound all international laws. How many of those did Ukraine sign? 0. Do you know Ukraine has 0 human rights laws? You can rape children over there. Unless you piss off a cop, no one's going to do nothing about it. They got child soldiers with guns from Canada. All those assault rifles, and here's an expert in firearms. You can get kits to switch out those 5.62 millimeter rounds in those evil assault rifles, which is exactly what Trudeau did. And did you know all Canadians? Trudeau had those turned into fully automatic weapons and shipped to Ukraine so the 12-year-old boys could go train to kill Russians in armed conflict. That is a gross violation of the highest laws in the entire world. And you think Trudeau's a hero? You think NDP's a hero? And don't get me wrong, everybody. All of these dirty, degenerate, low-life motherfuckers from Conservative Bloc, NDP, Liberal, I hate Justin Trudeau. I hate his guts. He destroyed my parents and my family. I grew up poor for one reason. Pierre Elliott Trudeau, a filthy, no-good Albertan. Not good enough to be the bottom of the shit on the boots. Just to build a life, to lose everything because I'm a no-good, dirty son of a bitch in Alberta, and I had to be reminded. Stephen Harper had to sell us out, and then Trudeau capitalized and came back and just knocked us all down. And it's not just Alberta. Northern BC, somewhat, but anything in the unceded territory shouldn't kill all those filthy Indians. That's what your NDP's doing in BC right now. Under this Emergency Measures Act, the Wet'suwet'en are going to get decimated. And everybody, if you haven't figured it out on that unceded land, look at the map. The Coastal GasLink right through. Their lands. No settlement, no treaties, no nothing. Because they ain't nothing. They're less than the shit on the boots. They're actually a rodent or a bug that the government steps on. And right now that's NDP. But under this Emergency Measures Act, now they're going to be smashing the bugs with sledgehammers, walking around, bang, bang, bang. That's what's going to happen to all the Indigenous people. You watch 30 days. Do you really think the Wet'suwet'en are going to get out there and these protesters start blowing up GasLink right now because Freedom Convoy's got guns all over? This is government overreach. Well orchestrated, well planned. They're paid off. They're paid off. They're corrupt. They're corrupt beyond any measure. We're no different than any Ukraine. We're no different than any Nazi Germany. This playbook is the oldest playbook. Canada's very good at playing it. They're the oldest build of Nazi Germany because they're the first build in the world. And any dirty motherfucker talking about South Africa, you are in violation of the UNSCP-5, the Five Allies of World War II. You have lied, you've cheated, you've stolen intellectual property, you've transformed it. I will be writing to the entire United Nations Security Council. I will be playing this video for all of them to listen to these two dirty, filthy, corrupt motherfucking MPs from NDP. And you can laugh, people can laugh. It's not how many people follow you, ladies and gentlemen. It's who follows you. And I am blessed. If you haven't seen the referendum that my good friend Alex is working on right now, that's real. That's in Ukraine. That is a doctorate of law, the highest mind in Ukraine. The highest legal mind in international law, constitutionalism, and comparative law. A genius. I have them everywhere in the world, including Russia. There is no Canadian and no American who can boast the same. Pretty phenomenal feat. But you know how you get that? From not being bigoted, not lying, and always staying with the truth. I even have the Communist Party of China. I even have one great legal mind expert from China. All from a paper, An Honest Truth, I published in Oxford in a paper. They wrote an entire paper for me. It was glorious. I have most of Africa who knows all the truths, and they sit on the UNSC. Two of those countries beat out Canada for a UNSC seat. Kenya gave a glorious presentation, as did Ghana, backing up a lot of what I have to say. Because they went through it, they lived it, they know this dirty, evil Nazi system that is Canada. That is your dirty, filthy NDP, as was the dirty, filthy Labour Party of South Africa. Decimated, ladies and gentlemen. Between 1985 to then 1993, the absolute destruction of the Labour Party, the Liberal Party, and the Conservative Party. This is not myth. This is fact. Now, these lying, degenerate, international criminals who are not criminals in Canada, that's wise political business, to lie, cheat, steal, rape, murder, pillage, plunder, defile children, and even cause the death of innocent children. That is a good politician in Canada. That's a good Nazi. This is what we are. I don't subscribe to any of these lunatic parties. They're all evil. And those backbenchers sound real good. If they don't know now, which I highly likely doubt, they still have party closed doors. Absolutely all Privy Council, shadow of every party, is absolutely corrupted. If they've held a provincial crown, they're absolutely corrupted. Ladies and gentlemen, Canada is sick. The world knows it. They talk about it. They leak a little bit, but never addressing the crown or the absolute truth. All parties play a game. And they act, and they lie to all of you each and every day. Sounds real good. Flip-flop. Vote your next Nazi into party, into power. Get them in. That's, I guess, what Canadians do, because that's the only rights you really have. Vote for the next Nazi. Who's the next Nazi party? Liberal, NDP, Conservative. They share special interest groups, and then they have a whole fantastical amount of others. They 100% control everything of all committees, bureaus, everything. Public this, commission that. The lists go on and on. There are a select few, which I think post-residential school genocide, coming to the end of February all the way to March, we're going to finish that. When I get back to Ontario, me and Tina are going to finish that. And it's only going to be a select, absolute level of First People I trust. Because I can't stomach this shit on TV anymore when it's my intellectual property, not only stolen, but torn up, transformed into an ugly narrative that is straight out of a fiction section to bolster a political narrative and absolutely abuse people. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. I don't know what the government's going to do over the next 30 days, but I can guess. It's going to be right across Canada. They're going to destroy many lives, as they've always done. This just gives the police, that RCMP, who, ladies and gentlemen, municipal, provincial, federal, and military. 4 divisions. Do you know that there's nowhere else in the world like that? When's the last time we saw anything like that? Oh yeah, the SS. Oh yeah, armbands Germany. Because that's exactly what the Nazi Germans and the former Soviet Union during the time of the Jewish Holocaust 1 and 2 modeled their policing after. The RCMP in Canada. Look how old the design is. Where does it come from? It's sad just how ignorant all Canadians, and sad how diseased and sick the minds are of your corrupt politicians, who are beyond all measure of radicalism, not seen in this world, up close and personal, since Nazi Germany. That's a reality. South Africa, 1985. Look at your criminal code. Why was it amended in 85? Why did we leave the International Court of Justice in 1993? Did you all see the address by the Governor General mandating in her divine right, ordered by the Prime Minister, to force the Emergency Act? Did you see how it was narrated? That was the Privy Council, the Ordering Council. None of it's democratic. Zero. Zero. You don't live in a democracy. You live in the illusion of democracy. For all those watching, some politicians highlight it, but they're never truly honest. Not honest enough to take the crown off their head and destroy it. What kind of sick fuck in 2020 wants to have supreme being power as a majesty, a lord, a worship, a god over all of you? What kind of sick mental fuck wants that in this day and age? And what kind of sick mental amount of a population would even allow that to continue day after day? I'm not afraid. I already know what's happening in banking because I'm living it right now. I already know what's happening in unions because I'm living it right now. I'm already living the employment nasty because I'm living it right now. I get it. Destroy the man. Destroy third class. Murder them financially, spiritually, and even physically if they go too far. Already been done, Canada. You busted me up. You've broke all my bones. You've taken everything I've had already once before. It's already been done. You know what it's going to take to stop me. We'll see who's got the balls. Bye now, everybody. Share the video. It's important because come midnight tonight, we're going to see what the tale of the tape is. Bye now.